Hello everyone, Yuki here with another video today. And today we're going to be discussing this new screen that I just picked up from Best Buy. This is a Vizio 32-inch 1080p TV that I've installed here in my arcade cabinet. As many would know, I used to have a Samsung 4K 32-inch in here, and I've since taken it out. I felt that buying this television would be a lot better for the level of hardware that I would actually have inside this cabinet. It's mostly fighting games and some old arcade games, so going 4K isn't really necessary. So what makes this TV special? Well, for instance, it is a VA panel. I still stuck with the VA panel. I don't really like IPS if you're going to be sitting directly in front. Another thing about it, it's only 1080p, and like I mentioned before, it's a lot less of a GPU hit going 1080p than trying to run all these things in 4K. But there's another thing that caught my eye about this television. It only has 2 inputs, so it's not that. And the contrast is actually quite high. Artings has it at 7690 or something like that, so it's basically 7700 to 1. It's pretty good for a direct backlit VA panel. And it shows, the colors pop, there's a lot of depth to it. Unfortunately, the TV does not get very bright. It does not have wide color gamut or anything like that. This is basically a bottom line, entry-level television. I paid about $190 for it at Best Buy. I've seen it in other places for $219.99, and I wound up getting the 1080p version. There is a 720p version out there, but I don't believe it has the one thing that made me say, hey, this looks interesting. So the reason why I picked up this television is because it does something that normal TVs don't. And I don't know if you could see this here. I don't know how clear the GoPro I have is, but it has a G-Sync option. That's right, this TV does support HDMI variable refresh rate. So you'll see here it says it's not G-Sync compatible. I've had other screens that are not G-Sync compatible, yet G-Sync works perfectly fine. This screen actually happens to be one of them. So this is the first time that I've seen a 1080p television of a small size actually support HDMI VRR. Now, I keep saying HDMI VRR because a lot of people misconstrue that with other types of basically variable refresh rate. So on the market, you have G-Sync, which requires a module on the NVIDIA side. And then you have FreeSync, which AMD actually made their own adaptive sync based on the VESA standard. And then you have HDMI Forum VRR. This television, from what I can tell, does not support FreeSync. It does not support G-Sync, hence it's not G-Sync compatible. But it does support VRR. How do I know this? I currently have connected to it a RTX 3080 Ti. So if you guys can see that right there. And I can tell you from experience, if you don't have anything that will even do VRR, this option that says set up G-Sync won't exist. Now I know what some of you are thinking, oh, then it'll work with AMD. Unfortunately, that was not the case with my friend's RX 570, which is a Polaris-based GPU. We tried yesterday, it never came to fruition. We started looking at forums, he reinstalled his drivers, we did many things, but it could just never work with FreeSync over HDMI. So Artings has this on review, and that's how I found out about this TV, and they themselves only were able to get the Xbox to work. The Xbox, I don't know if they had a Series or a One X, but the Xbox does in fact support HDMI VRR. So Xbox is fine, and after doing some testing yesterday, I figured, hey, let me throw my 3080 Ti, which I know does HDMI VRR. What do I get? And yes, it does work. I did the testing that I normally test, which is this test here, and you'll see that it looks stuttery. Once you get around 48, 49, then it smooths out perfectly. And that's the range. I mean, we're talking 1080p here, 48 to 60 hertz. Not a big range, but when you're dealing with arcade games, you have your obtuse ones that are like Mortal Kombat is the one that sticks to mind out of most people, running at around 53 hertz or so. So it does come in handy to have VSync for the older games, but now that it's 1080p, I don't have to throw as much hardware to get someone like games like Street Fighter V or even Tekken 7 to run in this arcade cabinet with variable refresh rate. Now I could just put something, you know, like a 1650 Ti in there and get a nice 1080p image for the fighting games with my VRR. And that's one thing you're gonna have to look for when you buy this television. You're gonna want to look for things that actually support VRR. So I can tell you with confidence that on the NVIDIA side, Turing and Ampere GPUs will support this. The 3080 Ti obviously is Ampere. And on the AMD things, I don't know if they support HDMI VRR. I would imagine the latest RDNAs and RDNAs 2 do, but that's going to be a buyer beware. I'm just letting you know that Polaris, it did not work. So I just wanted to throw that out there for you folks that are interested in buying deals today. There's tons of them. This one for $190 means a 32-inch. Colors are pretty good, but it's still just an LCD, so you're going to have your motion blur. Know what you're getting, but I felt for the money and for my usage on this one, it was a pretty decent deal. So just another PSA out there. I know I haven't made a video in quite some time, and I've got stuff queued up. As soon as it arrives, I'll be able to get into the things that I've been hoping for and giving you guys some looks at what I think would be interesting content for this channel. Anyway, enjoy your Thanksgiving and hope to hear from you guys again soon. Thank you.